Hello everyone, soy Fran, bilingual mortgage broker. El día de hoy tengo conmigo al señor, bueno, si no lo conocen se los presento, Mayor Singleton. Él es un top producer en Texas. Bueno, el día de hoy nos va a estar hablando un poco acerca de su carrera como mortgage broker. Estoy muy emocionada. Welcome.
Yeah, I believe everything you just said. I got Texas mortgage broker. That's all I got. So.
Bueno, le voy a estar haciendo una serie de preguntas que me gustaría que contestara para que pues ustedes se enteren un poco acerca de qué se trata ser un mortgage broker y por supuesto los challenges y experiencias y demás que me gustaría que él compartiera con nosotros. Así que vamos a empezar. ¿Qué te inspiró para convertirte en un mortgage broker? ¿Sabías que esto era algo a lo que te querías dedicar?
I knew that I would do something in finances. I spent a lot of time coaching families, teaching them about finances. When me and my wife would PCS, I spent 23 years in the Navy, where I met your husband. We served together on a ship in Hawaii. You know, I knew I would do something with finances and families and people. I enjoy working with people. So I became a mortgage broker because I realized that a lot of people didn't know about buying a home. So I started, educating myself on this. I started working with a team of people who really educated people, and I got started using VA loans to help people, and that kind of expanded from there.
¿Cómo fue tu primer año como mortgage broker? ¿Algunas lecciones que hayas aprendido que te hubiera gustado aprender antes?
My first year as a mortgage broker was pretty intense because I got into mortgages during the refinance boom of 2020 and 2021. So it was a lot of, I had to learn very quickly. So it was challenging. I still remember, my wife walking into my office and me passed out on the floor because I was actually still in the military while I was doing mortgages. So I would work in the military during the day, come home, put in 5 to 6 hours at night doing mortgages. Is there anything I wish I learned quicker? I wish I learned not to put so much trust in myself and to trust my team a lot more. There were people who were there to help me and support me. I kind of wanted to do things on my own. I would lean on my team a lot more if I was doing it all over again.
¿Y qué pasa con la gente que no tiene un equipo?
Well, I think you're going to need a mentor of some sort. Okay, so you're going to need some sort of support system. I would not go into this kind of on my own. There's too much at stake. You're dealing with hundreds of thousands of dollars of people's money. So I would, strategically, if I'm just starting out, connect myself with people who have a lot of experience in doing what I'm doing.
¿Qué hábitos o qué rutinas sientes que ha contribuido o que te ha ayudado para el éxito?
I think, first of all, when I start my day with prayer and devotions. So this job can be very stressful. So I start my day just with prayer. And I pray for my family, but I also pray for all my realtor partners. I pray for everybody that's under contract. I pray for knowledge and wisdom to figure out how to solve difficult situations, because as a mortgage professional, you are very much a problem solver. So I start with prayer. I usually get up and then I take my kids to school. And then I have a meeting first thing in the morning with my team. And often that's about as much as I talk to the team, for the rest of the day, because I'm usually telling them what I need to get done. And then we're moving on to, just working and doing what we need to do that day. So the most important part of my team is to start off in the morning with prayer.
¿Cómo es un día a día de un top producer mortgage broker?
I don't like the top producer thing. I just do what I have to do from day to day. I just happen to be fortunate enough to get results when I do certain things. But I will say that the reason why I like being a mortgage professional is that there is no day that is exactly the same. So some days I could be doing an interview for a podcast, or I could be meeting with clients or meeting with realtors. What I do is I do keep my Google Calendar organized, so I know what to do. My wife is my operational manager, so she keeps me organized. So I happen to be fortunate in that way. But there's no day that's exactly the same. Sometimes I'm going to a signing or something like that. Some people will say, hey, you should plan out your days or have theme days or something like that. It just doesn't work for me. It's every day is a little something different, which is why I love this.
¿Cómo te mantienes motivado?
I think motivation is pretty much internal. You have to keep in mind of why you want to do this. Why do you do this? Why'd you start? Keep in mind the steps that what was the vision that you had when you first started doing this? And when you start getting some deals under your belt or you start closing some loans, I think you envision the people at the closing table. You envision the fact that you're helping somebody actually get a home, which sometimes when people are working with mortgage brokers, they've been turned down by a big bank or by a big lender or something like that, and they need that one-on-one interaction to understand their situation. So I would say what motivates me is the gratitude of other people when you actually get to the finish line, because this is hard work. Okay, if you think you want to do something really easy, you probably don't want to do this, okay? Because this is hard. So, I'd say other people, the happiness of other people really motivate me.
Ahora tengo otra pregunta. ¿Cómo tú ves el mercado hipotecario actual y qué es lo que deberían estar haciendo los compradores?
Well, we're in a transition in our nation right now where we have a new administration coming into power. Some would argue back into power. I think what I'm seeing now is a lot of people sitting on the sidelines just waiting. But I'm seeing some people get some really, really great deals because they're not waiting. So right now you're seeing less buyers on the market, okay? And people are waiting to see what happens in January. I mean, we're recording this in December of 24. You're seeing people saying, hey, I'm gonna wait till January. But the people that are jumping in right now are getting some really fantastic deals, whether that's from a resale home or a new build or something like that. They're getting a lot of concessions, buying down the interest rate, paying the closing costs. There's just a lot of opportunity right now. I recall when I helped you and your husband buy your home, there was a lot of cash buyers, and we were
a nightmare.
We were competing with cash in a lot of situations. But the reality is, we're not seeing that situation right now. And especially for the first-time home buyer, the VA home buyer, or something like that, now is a great opportunity for you to get into a home.
¿Cuál consideras tú que es como el mayor mito o misconception que los compradores tienen acerca de los créditos hipotecarios, quizá en específico VA créditos?
I think as an overall, people have this idea that home loans are extremely hard to qualify for. In my background and, in many minority backgrounds, we typically don't come from a long lineage of homeowners. So people are fearful about even applying. They don't know what the bank is going to say or something like that. And, I always say, look, the most somebody can tell you is no, nobody's ever, passed out when somebody told them no. If you did, you had a very, sheltered childhood. My parents told me no all the time, so I got used to it. So that becomes, one layer, and then the other layer is the VA buyer. People are just not educated about the things you can and cannot do. And in this era where we're trying to educate more and more people about the VA home loan benefit, you still have realtors who are telling their buyers the wrong information. I got a phone call just 3 days ago from a veteran, 75 years of age, And he was there trying to figure out, he's in Florida. His daughter had moved to Texas. And he's trying to figure out how to sell his home in Florida so that he can buy his home in Texas. And the realtor called me and said, hey, can you help us out with this? He's trying to sell and then buy here. And I said, why is he selling? And she was quiet for like 20 seconds. I'm like, hey, hello? Why is it? Well, I don't know. I thought you had to sell in order to use your VA loan again. I was like, no, that's not true. You don't have to do that. So it's just a lot of misconceptions that people have about qualifying for using your VA loan and then really how to use it again and again and again.
Que por cierto, tenemos un seminario de VA completamente en español, empezando en enero, así que no se lo quieren perder. Todas las preguntas, más bien las respuestas a sus preguntas, así que no se lo pierdan. Ahora, para los compradores, en específico los de VA, ¿qué consejo darías para que puedan posicionarse mejor en el mercado? Como ya lo mencionaste cuando mi esposo y yo, cash.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing that you could do is the same thing I would really advise any buyer to do. Take care of your credit, okay? Pay your bills on time. Don't get overwhelmed by, monthly payments and stuff like that. What most people don't understand is that, $100 a month payment robs you of $20,000 in purchasing power. So that furniture loan that you got, or, you getting a car payment for $800 a month instead of $300 a month, $400, you just ate up $80,000 of purchasing power because you decided to get a monthly payment of saying, oh yeah, I'm good, I can do that. I can handle the monthly payment. So keep your debts low, okay, as low as you can when you're buying things. And then the other thing is saving money. I mean, it's the typical general things. Put aside money, little money here and there, really, really adds up. So my advice to the VA buyer is really my advice to any buyer: take care of your credit and save money.
Yeah. ¿Cómo o cuál es tu postura acerca de ayudar a los compradores self-employed o aquellos que no tienen un income tradicional?
So self-employed buyers, they typically, one of the reasons you own a business is because the tax code gives you an opportunity to write off certain things. Regarding the business side of your operation. And the challenge that many people have is that they will write off their income where they only pay taxes on maybe a fourth of what their income was. Some people significantly less. Or they don't pay any tax on the income, so your CPA writes off all of that income. Now, the challenge becomes if you write off your income and then you go to the government and say, hey, I want you to back a loan that you're doing on my home. The challenge is, well, the government sees that you made a very little bit of money because you write off all your income. There are multiple different programs to help you get into a home, although you write off, a lot of your income. So I wouldn't recommend that somebody necessarily changes their filing strategy or anything like that. So I would recommend that the self-employed person does maybe a bank statement loan or something like that, or a P&L loan. Now those interest rates on those loans are slightly higher than a conventional loan. But the reality is, would I rather pay 1% more to the bank that I'm going to get a 1098 on and I'm going to write off that interest expense against my taxable income? Or would I rather pay 35% to the federal government, to the IRS, that I will never ever see again? So it's a no-brainer for me. So some people will say, hey, you got to go file your taxes for 2 years or something like that in order to qualify for a home. No, we have multiple different programs to help people get into a home, although you may have written off a lot of your income as a business owner.
¿Pueden los compradores que son self-employed o con incomes no tradicionales hacer refinanciamiento?
Yeah, so, what you need, I mean, even if you get into a property where, the interest rate is slightly higher, whether you're self-employed or not, the interest rate on those programs, P&L, bank statement loans, all of those things, 1099 loans, all of those things, interest rates go up and interest rates go down. Interest rates change daily, often multiple times within a day. So if the interest rates start going down, then yeah, you can refinance even if you're still using a bank statement loan. We have that situation right now where I have a buyer who makes a lot of stinking money, and he wanted to put 10% down on a bank statement loan when he bought his home. He put 10% down. So honestly, that interest rate was in the 8s when he bought that home. However, he made upgrades to the home. He's actually a contractor, so he made this home into something absolutely beautiful as his family lived in it. And then he refinanced, and what we're refinancing him to, because of the equity position in the home, because of the equity he put into the home, that interest rate is now going to be right along with what a normal conventional loan rate is. So as the interest rate go down, interest rates go up, just be working with a mortgage professional who's watching the market for you and can actually help you refinance when interest rates drop.
¿Por qué deberían de trabajar con un mortgage broker y no con cualquier otro banco, por ejemplo?
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, many consumers don't know this and realtors don't know this either, that the government, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, actually keeps track of certain data of whether a loan was closed with a retail loan officer or with a mortgage broker. And there's overwhelming, statistical evidence that the average buyer saves a significant amount of money initially and over the life of the loan by working with a mortgage broker. Okay, and the reason for that, briefly, I'll tell you, is because retail lenders have margin built into their pricing, and really, all of the stuff that retail lenders get as a part of working for a company. Mm-hmm. The consumer actually pays that, okay, by paying higher interest rate, higher closing costs, higher processing fees. So working with a mortgage broker gives you lower closing costs up front, and it also gives you a lower interest rate over the life of the loan. And it also gives you access to different sets of products. So you have more products because the broker is working with multiple different banks, not just one independent bank.
Esa parte es importante. Tienes muchísimas opciones, no solamente las que el banco te ofrece. Si tuvieras que empezar de nuevo como un profesional de créditos hipotecarios, ¿qué harías diferente?
Man, I would do so much more different. So number one, I would select a team that I really believe in, okay, and a team that can help me grow. If you're starting out, there is so much to learn in this industry, so much to learn in this business. And I'm not telling you that the person that you work for has to tell you like everything, because they probably won't. They don't have the time or the energy to tell you everything, because the way that I build my business may be different than the way you build your business. There's so many different ways to be successful in the mortgage profession that just because you're working at a particular company, you may choose to structure your business a little bit differently. And your average clientele, based on your background, would be a lot different. I mean, it would be understandable that your average client is more likely to be Spanish speaking or something like that. I do a lot of things well. Speak Spanish is not one of them. So, I would actually partner with someone and ask myself these questions for this point: who has the greatest capability, greatest systems available to teach me, whether they're teaching me directly or they're plugging me into a system I need to learn, and who has those tools in place to actually help me learn quickly.
¿Cuál crees tú que es el error número uno que los profesionales de créditos hipotecarios o en la industria en general cometen?
Two of them. Number one, they try to wait until they have everything perfect to take any action. Okay, so I have seen this over and over again where people try to, I got to get this right, and then this right, and then this right, and then I'm going to go do X, Y, and Z. That's terrible. Okay, you are never going to have it all right. It's building your mortgage business is sometimes like building a plane while you're flying it. Okay, so you won't know what perfect looks like until you actually get in the mode of the activity of it. And even if someone tells you this is the way it's supposed to go, you might hear it, you might think you understand it, but you don't know it until you're actually in the mode of doing it. So you're like, oh, this is what he meant when he said.
That's why.
That is what. So that's number one. Number two is the challenge. Most mortgage professionals, salespeople, whatever. Usually, people are challenged with self-image, how they see themselves, and they believe that how they see themselves is how other people see them. Nobody else is expecting you to be perfect. So why do you expect yourself to be perfect? Nobody else knows what you know or doesn't know. So just take action and get going. And you're going to have to defeat the person that's the voice in your head. That's a bigger challenge than any loan guideline that you have to know.
Esta es importante. ¿De qué manera evitas el estresarte demasiado o burnout como un top producer?
I think I don't. Just kidding. I think part of this is that you have to face the reality that this is a stressful job. Okay, you're going to have to deal with the expectations of a realtor, the expectations of clients, the expectations of underwriters. Okay, so you are basically the point person for all of these, all of these stressors coming together. Expectations of title companies. Understand that you are going to be under stress. Okay, and then you have to figure out, like, how do you manage that? I happen to be somebody who I was military for 23 years. So I handled stress all the time. It was a stressful environment. However, if you're someone who needs to read a book, turn your phone off, okay? Say, hey, I'm not taking phone calls from this time to this time because, we've been recording this, and I can tell you that when I pick up my phone, I'm going to have like 20 missed calls, text messages. The other thing I would say is, have systems in place. Once your business starts picking up, who answers the phone for you when you're not answering the phone? So I have my phone system. Somebody else can be forwarded to somebody else. Or if somebody sends me an email, the person's going to see the response coming from me. Maybe I sent the email, maybe I didn't. So, if it's something that's simple that can be answered, my team answers those emails. So I think you're going to have some sort of stress management. Have open and honest conversations with your family, like, hey, letting them know when is your decompression time. If I stop working at 7, I need till 7:30. Okay, don't talk to me, don't ask me, don't do anything. My wife is very good about letting me watch the game and not bothering me. Okay, and it's not so much that and you could be sitting there watching Southwest New Mexico State University play countrywide college of the Ozarks, and it doesn't matter. You're just decompressing and watching a game. So figure out what your decompression is and what your decompression schedule is, and stick to it.
¿Qué libros, qué herramientas crees que han sido un recurso importante para tu negocio?
I do happen to read a fair amount. I won't say that I'm I read the most. But if something, I don't read a lot of, fiction books. I think it's a waste of time. That's my personal view. But I do read a lot of nonfiction. I read about people's lives, how they overcame things. I'm reading a book right now by a guy named Glenn Stearns, his autobiography, which is called Integrity. So that's the book I'm reading right now. So I do, read a lot. I do read a fair amount.
You read a lot of contracts, muchos contracts.
I read a lot of contracts. It's like a cure for insomnia. But I would say the things that have helped me grow my business is not one particular book. It's the fact that you're continuously reading books, business books, people that have built businesses. Even if you disagree with some of their perspectives, there are some things that you can take away. Okay, so I really do focus on reading things about people who have achieved something, even though I might not agree with everything they say. As we say, eat the meat, spit out the bones. but I do want to continuously be building myself and continuously improving myself, whether it's as a business owner.
¿Cuál es tu superpoder como mortgage broker?
I think it's the ability to teach, the ability to take something complex and make it simple. Okay, and sometimes that takes a lot of time for me to actually digest it, know it well enough to relate it to someone in their language where they actually understand. So I think as a teacher, and I know you've asked me before, what would I be doing if I wasn't being a mortgage broker? Mm-hmm. I'd be a teacher. I love teaching, I love educating, so that's what I'd be doing.
Y ahora la última, Jessie, ¿cuál es tu este es mi café para poder aguantar el día?
Two things. If I'm at home, okay, I drink bulletproof coffee. And I will have a cup at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon and still go to bed on time. It's no big deal. But I love Dutch Brothers. Caramelizer, 2 extra shots, blended. That's my go-to coffee drink.
So you like flavored?
I do like flavored. I don't want anything bland. I've had enough of when I was deployed, we would have like coffee that was straight oil. And I said, look, I'm not doing this anymore. So I need some fufu in my coffee.
Got it. Ok. Bueno, pues esto es prácticamente todo. Muchísimas gracias por tu tiempo. Sé que estás muy ocupado.
And muchas gracias to you. That's all I know.
Y bueno, si tienen algún comentario, más preguntas, lo que sea, ya saben que lo pueden dejar en los comentarios. Y bueno, gracias. Bye.